What's going on, Bully fam? It's your boy, the educated, the scientist, Mr. Double Muscle Line Bulls, bringing you another episode of Breeders' Hacks. So today we're going to be talking about making your kennel into a legitimate business, right? The do's and don'ts, the pros and cons, things like that, right? I've been getting a lot of messages lately, should I make my kennel into a legitimate LLC? If you haven't seen the episode on Breeders' Hacks, I gave an episode on how to quickly turn your kennel, your breeding program into an LLC. So you can check out that episode. I'll put the link down below or something. But like I said, I've been getting a lot of questions about, is this something I should do? What are the pros and cons? How does it benefit me? How does it negatively affect me? Things like that. So I know a lot of kennels and a lot of people don't talk about, the business side of the bully game, So I'm hoping, I'll give shed a little bit of light on that today. So I got a little bit of a drive, so I figured now would be the perfect time to go ahead and go over this with you guys. Before we get started, this week's shout out goes to Savannah_boy_bullies. Shout out to them. I'm gonna put your page right here on the video. Appreciate y'all. If you guys want to be able to learn how to get shouted out on the next episode of Breeders' Hacks, all you got to do is tag any of our content in your story on Instagram, and just make sure to tag us in it. And we're gonna pick random kennels to go ahead and shout you guys out and give you guys some exposure. So like I said, shout out to Savannah_boy_bullies. Now that we got our shout outs out of the way, let's get started. So when it comes to turning, your kennel, your dog breeding program into a legitimate business, and you're talking about, now you're really like making money and things like that. I'm gonna give you both sides of the coin, because I've been on both sides of the coin. I've been at a point where, I was breeding dogs and I didn't have an LLC and things like that. And then I also, on the other side of it, have been at the point where I breed dogs and I do have an LLC. And I'll say, from both aspects of it, it all depends on where you're at. And what I mean is, like, having an LLC, I think, is dope. I think it's good depending on your situation, because it allows you, say for example, to get the write-offs and the tax breaks, but at the same time, you do have to, claim the money that you're making. So, FYI, I'm not a tax attorney or anything like that. I'm just telling you what we do. So what happens is, right, so I would say this, the real reason why you would want to have an LLC is because if you're trying to maybe provide and show proof of income. What do I mean by that? If you're making money doing dogs and you want to show that money, yes, you will have to pay taxes on it, but the great upside and benefit by doing that is now you can use that income as proof to be able to afford the things you want to purchase, luxuries, credit things, all kinds of things like that. So for example, because now that you have an LLC and you're making money from that LLC, you can now get, say for example, business credit to be able to invest further in, say, your program, a progesterone machine, things like that, and you can buy that with credit. Another reason is, now that you're making money from your LLC and you're showing it, on paper, is the fact that now, say, what I do real estate. I just don't do dogs. So now you're able to provide proof of income through these dogs, so that now you can go ahead now and, say, purchase your own home or purchase, an investment property because of the fact that you have proof of income through these dogs. But that's, like I said, that's one of the bonuses. So now another thing too is, other than say real estate, is, let's just say, let's say you want to purchase a vehicle. Maybe it's for the company, maybe it's not. But because you have proof of income through your LLC, you can now purchase a company vehicle, finance. And what I'm meaning is like finance a company vehicle, or finance, or like, yet again, if you're showing on paper, you may also give yourself a salary out of the LLC. So now you could go ahead and buy a car for yourself. You know what I'm saying? It opens up all the doors, I would say, like as if you were working a job, you know? So that's like the upside of it. That's the good side of it. But I will say is like, you need to be definitely making money off of this in order to be able to do those things, you know? If you're not really making any money yet, then you're not going to be able to, you know, provide that, you know, you're not going to be able to purchase, you know, real estate through your LLC or with your LLC, or the money that you're making, you know, if you're giving yourself, you know, paying yourself from the business. So that's like the other thing. So is it still beneficial if I'm not making really any money from the dogs to have an LLC? Yet again, I'm not a tax attorney, and you can speak with your, you know, CPA or whatever the case may be. But when I first started with my LLC, and this was way back, for the first few years, it actually was beneficial, even though I wasn't necessarily, say, making really like any money. And I'm gonna explain why. Is because, like, at least in my state, and we're in New York, you get, you know, write-offs. So if I spent X amount of dollars on things for the program for the dogs, dog food, things like that, you know, even though I wasn't making any money, it was considered a loss. So what happens is, because, you know, I was working, you know, at the time I was working like 2 jobs or something like that, I was able to actually, when tax time came around, long story short, I got more money back because of the fact that basically it was considered that I took a loss on the business. So they gave me more of a tax break from my 2 jobs. So that money, you know, like I said, at tax time, I got like double or 3 times the amount I normally would have gotten. So it was beneficial in that sense because I got a bigger tax break. But what you'll have to do if you do something like that is you have to hold on to the receipts and tally up basically what you've spent in expenses over the course of the year, you know? So working with, like, you know, a good CPA, and we're in New York, so I think New York is probably going to be more expensive than anywhere else in the country. I could be wrong, but like, I have a good CPA and I probably spend like $100-200. And at the time, you know, when I'm first starting, he got me a good amount of money back, you know, for my tax returns. So what I would just say is, you know, a good CPA is a good investment for sure. You know, a good tax person is a good investment because they'll make sure that they get you the most money back without also, you know, violating any laws or anything like that. And, you know, just keeping you legit. You know, if you want to go legit, don't go halfway. Go all the way. You know what I'm saying? And make sure that you have, you know, someone who's properly doing your taxes, unless you know how to do that yourself. But anyway, like I was saying, so that's what I did. And it was still beneficial because, like I said, as the business was growing, and in the first few years I was taking a loss, so at least I was getting a bigger amount back during tax time. So what I would say is, you know, that's kind of like both sides of it, you know. Now, you know, you have to look and see in your state, you know, what you're able to do, what you're capable of doing, and things like that, because, you know, certain states, I guess, you know, like, don't allow certain things or whatever. So you just, you know, you want to make sure, you know, you're walking, you know, you're doing things legit. But like I said, it can be beneficial to have an LLC, you know. And then the other thing too is you can also do, I believe you can also do what's called a DBA, which is like a lot cheaper than an LLC, which if you follow the steps in the video that I provided, it's not really that expensive to do an LLC in your state if you do it yourself the way I show you guys. But if you do a DBA will is considered doing business as, and that basically allows you to use to do business under, say, your kennel name, but under like your name, if that makes sense, like under your social security number and things like that, versus an LLC is its own private entity. But I would suggest just sticking with, you know, an LLC. And the other thing to be mindful of too is, like, you know, if you aren't ready, you know, like one of the cons maybe is like also being mindful that, you know, you'll have to pay taxes on the money that you made. Like even after all the tax deductions, let's just say hypothetically, you know, after all your tax deductions, you made like 50,000, you know, you're going to have to pay taxes on that. But, you know, it might be beneficial to you if you're looking to take that 50,000 and show that you're making that income so you can buy a home, you could buy a car, things like that, you know? So unless, yet again, I mean, you can avoid all that by just buying things outright cash, which is what you could do, you know, but everybody is different, you know, everybody's situation, and some, you know, it depends on your situation, you know? So that I guess could be like a pro or a con. So for you guys who, you know, are just starting out, you know, like I said, even if you're not making any money, you can open an LLC. You know, like I said, you just have to be mindful that, you know, the only thing I think you'll really get benefits wise is maybe like that whole aspect of getting the tax breaks. You know, not only that, now that I think about it, you know, when you have an LLC, you can start applying for different, I guess, accounts through different vendors. So for example, like you could turn around and get an account with Uline, for example, and if you use their shipping boxes to ship out products or ship out semen or whatever the case it may be for your program, say you have a stud, you know, you'll get like discounts and things like that. So I don't think Uline has boxes like that, but you get what I mean. Like, you know, you just contact different companies. If you use their products on a regular basis, they'll give you, you know, like a company to company discount or service versus getting it, you know, as like a regular person. So that's, you know, also another nice benefit. You know, some places I give like business discounts for dog food as well, things like that. You'd have to look into that. And then the other thing I'll say as well is, like I said, like the business credit. You know, you can start working on a business credit. You know, because your LLC will have, you know, like its own social security number. Think of it as like a child. Like your business will have its own social security number, so you can start building up its credit, like, which is completely separate from your own credit. And then you can go ahead and use that and get business credit and be able to do other investments and things like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, I won't go into too much detail, but for example, like I did that where I took business credit and they gave us like, I think it was like 40,000, and I used that to purchase, invest in real estate. You know what I'm saying? So the sky's the limit. You know, so I mean, I would say for the most part, I guess, like, look at your situation, see if it's beneficial to you, you know, and get the ball rolling with that. You know, in some states it may not be beneficial. In some states, maybe they don't allow you to do an LLC as a breeder, as a dog, you know, kennel. But then what I would just suggest too is, you know, maybe you do other things as well. You know, maybe you're maybe you also do like AIs for people. Maybe you do progesterones for people. You know, that can still be considered a business, even though it's not necessarily breeding dogs. You know, maybe you have a kennel set up, and maybe you have people time to time bring their dogs over. Then you would be considered like a boarding kennel, you know? So got to get creative, you know? But like I said, I'm not, you know, a CPA or anything like that. I'm just telling you guys what, you know, we've done and how it's benefited our kennel and our program and things like that. And I really hope, you know, I hope maybe this information was helpful, was useful. And if you guys have any further questions, like I said, you know, I'm not a CPA, but I can just give you the best of my knowledge and what I've done. And, you know, do your own research. You know, so if you guys want to see more episodes, you know, talking about, I guess you could say more of the business side of it, more of the financial side of it, you know, maybe drop a comment down below. Let me know. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, this is something more new that I don't really talk about, you know, but like I said, if it's something you guys are really interested in, you know, definitely let me know. Yeah, definitely stay tuned. Got a lot of more, you know, big things coming to the channel. I want to be doing more giveaways for this holiday season coming up. I actually do have a big giveaway I want to do. So that's going to be across, I think, all of our platforms, as well as, you know, a bunch of other fun stuff. So definitely, like I said, stay tuned, guys, because we also have that our litter of angry toy bulls going to be on the way. I'm super excited. Puff to Badger is confirmed. Pups will probably be here any day. Yeah, guys, that's pretty much it. And I'll see you guys in the next episode of Breeders Hacks.